Hi everyone, how are you? I'm very well, thank you very much for asking. Today I thought I would bring you 5 FODMAP hacks because the low FODMAP diet can seem to feel like your life is a bit rubbish and it's difficult. It is difficult. I hold my hands up, the low FODMAP diet is not the easiest diet to follow in the world, but these hacks are going to help to try and make your food a lot tastier, make your life a lot easier, and also just generally help you along that journey if you're on the low FODMAP diet. Just little tips along the way that will just, I've just said it so many times, but to make your life so much easier, happier, and thumbs up-ier. So my first FODMAP hack is all about how to replace onion in your food, because I don't know if you've noticed this, I'm sure you have if you're on the low FODMAP diet, but onion is in absolutely everything. It's not just about like chopped onion that you see in a salad, it's in crisps. Onion powder is everywhere. It's horrible, and for me personally, it is my absolute worst enemy. And I would imagine for you guys, a lot of you really struggle with onion as well. So the best ways to replace onion, because obviously onion does actually taste really nice, is fresh chives. I live on fresh chives. We have a fresh chive plant in our garden. I buy fresh chives when the fresh chive plant hasn't grown that much, and I absolutely love them. I always put them just sprinkled on my food. I don't cook them because I think the flavour comes out best when you put them on just afterwards, and they really do taste so, so good. I don't know why I hadn't eaten chives before I was on the low FODMAP diet. Secondly is spring onions. Now spring onions are a bit of a tricky one because definitely not the bottom part of a spring onion, because that's essentially like onion. But the top part, the green bits at the very, very top, if you're nervous, just literally do the very, very, very top green bits. You can cut those up, and also you could sprinkle them on food and they taste really good because obviously they kind of are a little bit, well, spring onion is in the name, but just that green bit. And then another thing, which for me is slightly newer to me, and I also barely can say it, is the spice asafoetida. I think that's how you say it. Asafoetida you'll find in the spices section of most supermarkets now, and it's basically, as I said, it's a spice, so you put it in when you're cooking. You don't have to sprinkle it on at the end. You can put it into curry powders or into mixes, and it just gives your food that nice oniony flavour that onion or onion powder or whatever ordinarily would. So yeah, those are my 3 onion replacements. So hack number 2 is another way of replacing onion and also garlic in your food, and that is by using oils, infused oils. So garlic infused olive oil is something that you can buy in pretty much every supermarket, so it's really easy. Also, I must say one thing about garlic infused olive oil is when you buy it, you really need to make sure that you buy a clear one that doesn't have any sort of little bits of garlic in it. So you can shake it up, and if sort of you see garlic in it, then I wouldn't recommend buying that. I'd recommend buying a really clear one. It is something that I have in my cupboard like constantly. Sometimes when I want to make something like sweet, I realise, oh, I don't have any like unflavoured oil because I use garlic infused olive oil and so much. So yeah, garlic infused olive oil is amazing, but you can also make your own infused oils to get other flavours into your food. Since you can buy garlic infused olive oil, I wouldn't recommend making it yourself because that's a complete waste of time unless you can't find it. But something that you can't buy in the supermarkets, as far as I know, is onion infused oil. And onion infused oil tastes so, so good. Really simple to make. Basically, I'll just tell you right now. You heat up some oil, then you take the oil off the heat, bung in some onions, and let it sit for a few hours. Then strain it. Literally strain every ounce of that onion out of it. If I see a tiny little bit, I will not be impressed because that means it's not low FODMAP and it will probably hurt you. So make sure you strain every ounce of it out, and there you have it. You literally have onion infused oil, which is ridiculous. So simple. I must say you can also do this with other things like chili and stuff like that. So you can make loads of your own oils, it's really nice. So I think hack number 2 is pretty good, and it's 100% low FODMAP. So my 3rd FODMAP hack is serving size really does matter. So always measure out your portion sizes. Now I use digital scales for this because they are literally accurate to the gram or whatever. They're so accurate, so I would definitely recommend getting some. They're not very expensive or anything. So this isn't just about measuring out like low portion things, so low FODMAP foods in the correct portion sizes. It's also about measuring out high FODMAP foods. So something like avocado, for instance. I used to think that, you know, I can't eat avocado. It is supposed to be like a higher FODMAP food, so I can't eat it, full stop. But that's not the case. You can actually eat 1/8 of an avocado. So you just need to measure it out. And it's the same with so many different like vegetables especially, that you think that, oh, you've heard that vegetable is high FODMAP. You've seen it on the apps and stuff and on the internet, it's red, 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 red. But if you look a bit further, it shows, you know, the portion size in grams. And if you eat half of that, for instance, and you eat maybe half or a quarter of a portion, you might be able to tolerate it. So it's really important that you look at portion sizes. You don't just think, oh my God, I can't eat anything because all these things say that they're high FODMAP. You need to see that this is high FODMAP in this portion size, in this portion size, and in this portion size, but in this portion size, it might not be high FODMAP and you might be able to have a little bit of it. So especially when you get to that maintenance stage, it's really, really important that you focus so much on portion sizes because you are able to eat so much, you just need to be really careful. So my fourth hack is to not combine portion sizes of foods that are in the same FODMAP group. So here is a really good example of something that I used to do that was completely wrong and I didn't realise. So I'm thinking maybe some of you guys don't realise as well. So for instance, berries. Now, raspberries, blueberries and strawberries are obviously in the same sort of group of foods and you're allowed a certain amount of each of them. But if you had like the portion size that you're allowed, a low FODMAP portion size of blueberries, and then had a low FODMAP portion size of strawberries, and then had a low FODMAP portion size of raspberries, combining all of them together will most likely aggravate your stomach because you then sort of almost made it high FODMAP, if you see what I mean, because you've just had too much, because they're pretty much the same thing. It's basically like having all blueberries and having loads of blueberries. So you need to make sure that when you are looking at what you're eating, you don't have loads of the same. I think another thing would be something like, even though this is going back to our last point actually, sweet potato is kind of classed as something that is fairly high in FODMAPs, but you can have a tiny, tiny amount of it. But then if you had some sweet potato and had some butternut squash together, that would probably just tip you over the edge and you'd be like, oh, I just can't eat it. But if you had it on its own, maybe, you might be able to have some. So you need to really think about foods and what groups they're in terms of FODMAP. Look at them, and often they kind of look similar. So just make sure that you don't combine groups of foods that are similar. My fifth and final hack is when you're reintroducing food, do it incredibly, incredibly gradually, tiny portions. Don't reintroduce lots of foods at the same time because that's a big no. And I think when I'm talking about this, I really think that it's important that, and this is the reason why people say it, is that you really should be doing the low FODMAP diet with like a medical professional, like a dietitian or your GP, anyone like that, because they will help you do it in the right way. Because I know too many people, for instance, don't want to reintroduce foods because they're so scared, because they know that certain foods really did hurt them and they're too scared to reintroduce it. But if you do it in the right, controlled way, you should be able to find that there'll be foods that you can eat. Obviously, some of the foods you reintroduce, you might actually find, right, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to eat that again. But other ones, you might find that you can. And one thing that you mustn't ever do is, like avocado, for instance, with me. If I want to try and reintroduce avocado to see if I can have a small amount of it, I should reintroduce it in tiny amounts. I shouldn't then go, right, I'm going to eat a whole bowl of guacamole, because it's not going to go well, and that isn't doing it in the correct way. So definitely do it in very small amounts at a time. Do it with a professional, because honestly, I know people say this and you're like, oh, they always say this, but you know, I'm sure I can do it by myself. You can't. You really can't. You really, really, really should get some help from someone. Even if that's talking to people who are online professionals and stuff, because I know, I'll put a link to a couple of people below in the description of people who I know are really knowledgeable in this area, and if you have any questions, they might be able to help you out. But yeah, so don't reintroduce too quickly and don't reintroduce lots of things at the same time, and get the help that you need. So those were my five FODMAP hacks. I really hope that they were useful to you. And let me know below if you would like me to do more videos like this, because I do quite enjoy doing them and I hope that they're helpful. They're kind of helpful for me when I say them, because I'm like, it makes me remember, it makes me think, I really must make sure that I always do this. I mustn't just tell you guys, I must always make sure that I'm doing the same. But yeah, if you want any more sort of information about the low FODMAP diet, or just want to chat to someone who is also on it so that you feel like you're not the only one, then head over to my Instagram, I'll link it below, and just leave me a message or comment on one of my pictures, because I am just weirdly obsessed with replying to comments. I guess it's not weird, it's nice to reply to comments. So if you do that, I will get back to you. I will chatter with you till the cows come home and we can talk FODMAP, talk IBS, talk everything gut health, and hopefully we can help each other. So yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. There are tons of other FODMAP, gut health, IBS videos hanging around, lurking around for you to throw your eyes all over. And yeah, I will see you very soon. Bye.